Good evening, afternoon, day, wherever you're at. We're back, we're back at it again. So this one's going to be kind of like several topics, really. And I know some of you are into all the tinfoil hat yarn. So I'll go over the market stuff first. That way you guys can be dismissed early. I don't like to listen to this stuff because it gives you nightmares or makes you uncomfortable or bores you or you don't believe in it, and it's fine. So today we had a live stream, and I mentioned earlier on Twitter that we would see a couple of those levels reached pre-New York session, and we had those deliver. And then I mentioned that the actual morning session itself would be a little bit difficult, so lower your expectations. And you've seen, obviously, how muddy the waters were. Market chopped up and down, stayed in a really, well, not a very satisfying range. But even through all that mess, if you're looking for a model that you had to be testing, not that you should have been trading today. Some of you look at the chart and the things I talked about during the live stream and saying, how can you say you shouldn't be trading it? On the downside, you pretty much outline where it would go. Yeah, I do that a lot. And you're going to do that a lot too. And there's going to be times where you'll be expecting certain things to unfold in the marketplace and you won't push the button. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The week prior to what you, I guess, would call Easter, I don't like to use that term, but when there's a holiday like this, generally there's a lot of money that sits on the sidelines. So for those that are wondering why I'm not looking to do anything next week, also is I'm just not looking to take on risk. I'm not looking to do that. I don't want to promote the idea that everyone else should be looking at the markets like that, even if you don't share my same faith. Now, if you looked at what we went through today in ES, we had a lot of confluences why the market would have had a short-term high formed and potentially have the weekly range capped. And what do I mean by that? Some of you may have not understood what I said earlier, and maybe you haven't gone through the core content lessons, and maybe you haven't kept notes. Maybe you didn't hear me talk about these things in other lectures and such, but when the market has a one-sidedness, in other words, for the weekly range, if the majority of the weekly range across the daily candles has been predominantly one direction, which is pretty much what we've seen since Tuesday, generally, not always, but generally, Thursday's morning session, and this works in Forex too, so don't think that it's just something that works only on futures or index trading. But generally, the New York session, morning session specifically, will tend to create a intermediate term high or intermediate term low. And that may, in fact, become the actual opposite end of the weekly range. Not all the time, but even if it trades higher tonight and goes higher than today's intraday high. I believe the high was 4087.75. So we failed to get to 4088 today. Never printed. But if we go above it overnight tonight, it's okay, because you've seen how that morning session proved to be a tradable condition. In other words, we've seen an intermediate term high intraday, and it traded down to an objective that we were able to outline. You watched me do that in the live stream. And two of the targets, the two of the discount arrays that I outlined, traded to beautifully. And I screenshot it as it was slamming into the sell side liquidity pool. And it only went one tick below that from the time I screenshot it. And then it traded right from there all the way back up into the morning range, near, very close to the high of the day. Now, if you look at a day like today and you're arm wrestling with how maybe you were trying to push the button, maybe you were trying to participate in the morning session move lower, and maybe that created an issue for you in terms of fear, fear of missing out, fear of getting it wrong. Hold on one second. Usually I put on my do not disturb because people like to call me when I'm doing these things. That was a text message from someone I don't want to hear from right now, but I'm going to talk to when I'm done. Not a hater. But if you were looking at this morning and you felt bewildered, chopped up, second guessing everything, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's how you should feel. That way, you will see it again in the future, and it'll prevent, hopefully, you from doing an over leveraged trade. You don't want to be doing things in the marketplace when it's like that with high leverage, which is the reason why I mentioned lower your expectations. And I read some of the tweets in response to that live session saying that you got chopped up, saying that you're down a little bit, that you're frustrated and you don't know what's going on. Well, you're pushing a button when I told you not to push the button. And now you're bringing emotions into it, which is exactly what I said would happen if you did that. Now, for the folks that didn't push the button, you can see how you probably have spared yourself a great deal of aggravation and frustration because you didn't go into it with casino time mentality. You're in there observing, trying to learn. The takeaway from today is yes, even inside all that mess, if it starts to move lower, we can see where it's going to go. But the problem is you have to wait for a lot of confluences, which they materialized today, as I mentioned, with the S&P divergence and the new week opening gap that it traded up into. All the other factors that were listed in that tweet. But you're not being invited to gamble when it's like that because it could just as easily went up there and traded above that new week opening gap. In fact, it might do that overnight tonight. What's preventing it? Nothing. ICT's not. You aren't. Your will, my will, or my expectations or want for the marketplace to deliver a specific way, that's not going to be a factor. And today, what we saw in the morning session is a classic depiction of what it's like when the market presents an opportunity for you to hook up an arm wrestling match, your will against its will. And as you can see, the market's will, it shall be done. And if you're not in alignment with it, it hands you your hinder parts, your backside, your tail feathers, if you will. And maybe you thought you saw something today. Maybe you thought you saw something that was contrary to what I was pointing out, and you found out that that wasn't a good idea either. And it's also a learning lesson for you. I talked about that in the live stream today. So I'm not convinced that today scared most of you into being more diligent about picking better market conditions. I think some of you still seeing the outcome of where it traded to later in the day and down to our objectives that we had for discounts. And you thought to yourself, I don't think I'm going to be intimidated next time I see a trade like this. I'm going to go and I'm still going to push the button. If I just would have pushed the button today, I wanted to do those trades that he was talking about. And I could have went short, and I could have did this, and could have did that. Yeah, you could have, absolutely could have, and you could have failed, and you could have got stopped out, and you could have got scared because it was chopping around as it was dropping. And what you're feeling, and what everybody else is talking about too. Listen, even to the people that don't know what they're doing, they're all saying the same thing. Man, this market, man, this price action, man, this stuff is really upsetting me. So it's not just you, it's not me, it's everyone that's looking at price action. We all see it, we all feel it. Something seems amiss, right? Something feels just a little bit off, like something's not running like it should. And whenever you feel that, whenever you see it or experience it, and you observe it in price action, it's really important for you to, number one, acknowledge the fact that you're observing and you feel that there's something amiss. That's your first indication that your experience is now speaking to you. And then invariably, what will happen is the new students, the new traders, will quickly dismiss that as, oh, that's just me trying to be nervous or scared or second guessing myself. The only answer to that equation would be just to get in there and just push the button, go with my gut feeling. And then you find out that's not something you should have been doing either. You're not guessing, you're not trying to gamble. The market has to present something logical, so it has to be very clear. It has to be one-sided, where it cannot be, and this is what I'm taking you back to in this discussion here, it can't be sold to you in the sense that you can see a buy or a sell. Because if you can do that, that is by definition an ICT low probability condition. And yes, even in low probability conditions, I can see those things panning out just as well as you can too. But the probabilities are not going to be in your favor as if you were looking at a low resistance liquidity run. You see how it took forever to get down there? See how it was a lot of give and take, a lot of back and forth price action, even though we could see the sell side it was going to reach for, even though we could see that fair value gap just below equilibrium. Just because we can see that, and just because you may have the patience to hold through that, I don't want you to focus there. That's not the trade setups I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you how to find a really fast and loose market where it just quickly, efficiently goes to your target. It allows you to be in the market very little in terms of time. And it delivers exactly what you're looking for quickly, expediently, and near painlessly. Now, I got to be careful saying things like that because it sounds like zero risk, and that's not what I'm saying at all. It just means that when we're trading with the insights that I'm trying to teach you, you're going to be looking for setups that are absolutely one-sided. And this morning, hopefully, I was successful in terms of explaining how it could have done both directions until it made that higher high and falling short of the consequent encroachment of that new week opening gap. Just fell short of it at 4087.75. And at that moment, I took you through all the indices, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the ES. And we had the SMT divergence. We were inside that 10 o'clock hour. We were looking for it to break lower. I explained how I'd like to see the one specific swing low be taken out. And I wouldn't look at the relative equal lows as a shift in market structure because it's potentially both directions. Now, that SMT divergence could have been erased quickly. Dow could have snapped up there, changed everything. Because the market was consolidating back and forth, instead of just making one pass higher, failing, and one single pass higher, and then breaking down. That's a clean market. That's price direction that's easy to spot and predict. But when it has multiple high, low, higher high, low, higher high, lower low, higher high, you're in a condition that could easily become seek and destroy. And seek and destroy many times starts off where it feels like you know what you're looking for or what it's likely to deliver to you. And it takes it from you. It's like a carrot that's just dangled in front of you, like, here's the easy money, come get it, get it. Just all you gotta do is push the button. And as soon as you get in there, you regret it because it runs the other direction immediately. And that's what this morning was doing to a lot of traders. And my goal is for you to anticipate these types of movements in price so that way you don't fall victim to getting in there and trying to impose your own will or block out the two-sided or dual nature of price delivery that is available in those conditions, meaning it's easy for someone to use my concepts and justify both directions. And if that's the case, that is low probability. That means you cannot frame a low resistance liquidity run where it just runs quickly and the price action is really clean. If you go back and look at your charts, and this is what you should be doing when we're done talking this evening, you want to be looking at it and taking note of how many times each individual 1 minute candle overlapped the previous. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That is a market that is struggling to trade outside of a holding pattern. All it's doing is moving just a little bit, coming right back in, moving a little bit, coming back in. And it might eventually drift to an objective that might be visible to you. We outlined it this morning, but it doesn't feel like it wants to get there in a hurry. That's another classic signature of a low resistance liquidity run. A low resistance liquidity run is what you're trying to get good at spotting, anticipating, expecting, and engaging. High resistance liquidity runs is what you're trying to observe and learn how to spot so you don't have to go in there and trade them. So you have to know what both of them are. You have to know what one is so you can hopefully avoid it, or at least at the very minimum, know not to overtrade, not to do 5 trades, 6 trades, 12 trades, break every rule because you're in drawdown. By looking at only the high probability conditions where the market is offering you a low resistance liquidity run, those moves are very forgiving. Whereas these days, like we had this morning, they're not all that forgiving. Meaning when you're wrong, it's very difficult to get yourself out of the hole that you dug yourself into. And for some of you that were pushing the button when you knew you shouldn't have done it, you saw how hard that was. Learn from that. It's okay. There's no shame in it while you're learning, but it is shame when you don't learn from this and you start doing it all over again. When you know that the conditions are indicating to you that we are in high resistance liquidity, and you're probably hearing me say that so much. You're like, when is it ever going to be low resistance liquidity runs? I know, but we're in a climate right now that is very, very hard to work with. So you have to be very diligent about what it is you're looking for. You have to be very patient, and you have to be, well, shrewd. Demand a lot in terms of what the market's offering you for a setup. Whereas when we are in low resistance liquidity run, I mean, I could just simply go in here and say, okay, well, here's where the liquidity is going to draw to, above or below the marketplace. So we already have our bias, we have our direction. That's easy. Then go in there and just pick any opposing PD array. If we're bearish, we're looking for anything to get short on. Institutional order flow, bearish order block. You think about the examples I show you. All the recorded trades, they are low resistance liquidity runs. Look how many times I'm entering on a pyramid entry and how many opportunities there are with that. How many opportunities did you see getting in today to get down to that sell side? Not many. And it was very clustered. Like it was a mess. It was like a 5-year-old took a crayon for the first time and tried to color you a picture. It was scribble up and down, up and down, up and down, back and forth, and still ultimately getting down to where we were looking for. But the drive there, the travel, getting to that destination was very long, very, very uncomfortable. And that's the difference between a high resistance liquidity run versus the trades that you see me recording where it just runs really nice. So I guess in a lot of ways, when those individuals that don't like me or want to smear me or whatever, they'll say, "Oh, he's cherry picking." I am cherry picking, absolutely cherry picking. They're going to take this soundbite completely out of context, but I'm cherry picking the low resistance liquidity runs, just like I'm cherry picking those when I'm tweeting. I'm telling you where they are, so that way you can study them. But it would be unfortunate if I was trying to mentor you and only giving you the candy only, just like books and courses and things. Everybody has a way to get in. Everybody has a setup that they think works, but nobody knows how to navigate the treacherous waters, those storms out at sea where you just don't have dry land to take shelter on. You just got to ride it out. Sometimes we'll be able to see these storms coming in and we'll batten down the hatches and dial back our frequency, dial back our risk, and or simply say we're not going to do anything today because it's high resistance liquidity. It means it's going to move around, yes, but it's going to move around in a manner that we aren't really interested in. So you just observe it, tape read it, paper trade it, whatever. But the moves that we're really hunting, that pick up all the slack, that pay for all the times when you're really not trying to engage more than is necessary, that's the low resistance liquidity runs. They're the ones that run 20, 30 handles real quick, multiple entries, all giving opportunity to get on board, even though they're moving quicker, cleaner. They offer multiple entry points until we get to that that threshold of, if you're bearish, once it gets down into the discount area, then we can't take any more entries because the likelihood of it offering it is going to be very slim. But when you're bearish and we're in the equilibrium or above portion of that price run that we're anticipating, every potential PD array is up for grabs for a short. And that's what I'm showing you when I'm doing those examples where I'm recording multiple entries, building up a larger position, 6 contracts, 3 contracts, 1 contract, or 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm really trying to build it up. Today was not a day that I would have been able to go in and do a pyramid entry on any of that. Now, when you hear that, it's like, well, that sounds like kryptonite to ICT. Well, it is. I told you I'm not interested in trading those. I know where my weaknesses are. I know my weakness in my concepts. I know my weakness in my ability as a trader. I know where I will fall victim to emotion. I'm obsessively compulsive. That means if I do trade in those instances, I will regret it if I do it wrong, which means I'm going to be more prone to do what? Lean on my skill, my ego to try to fix it and try to be finessing some kind of correction in it. And it may not deliver like I want it to. So I'm trying to communicate it to you that this is where I have failed. That part of trading, teaching, this is the part that you really want to pay special attention to because this is where you're going to fail. And if you're new, you don't know that you're going to fail here. You don't know that this is going to repeat in the future and you won't see it coming. And when it knocks you down, it may be so bad of a knockdown that you may not be able to come back from it. It may be too much for your psyche to endure. Think about this morning. That was very exhausting, wasn't it? Sitting there together for about 2 hours or so and seeing it do pretty much nothing, just banging around inside a very small range. Do you want to spend your trading day when there's nobody telling you that this is not a good thing to do? It's better for you to just close your trade, close your charts, and go do something else. Do you want to be in that environment with next to no experience with a live account in drawdown? Think about that. That's what I want you to be thinking about today. Some of you did it. Some of you did it to yourself, not listening, and now you know what it feels like, and you gained scar tissue. And it sucks because you didn't listen. And every time you don't listen and you do something you shouldn't do, you're gaining more scar tissue. And that makes it harder and longer for you to learn this when you could just simply just do what I'm telling you to do. No risk, just observe. No demo trading either. Did you hear me say, take a demo here, take a demo? Nothing. Lower your expectations. Why? I'm preparing your mind to anticipate that very condition. And we saw it back and forth, back and forth. You will not, you won't likely blow your account on days that are just absolutely one-sided. I've had students that have did very, very poorly with their entries because they either waited too long, the market was too fast for their liking, and instead of getting in the fair value gap, it starts moving away from the fair value gap and they get in there. That to me is chasing price. But they will show their results to me and say, hey, look at this. This is what I did. I know I wasn't all that great with the entry, but look what I made. And I have to be honest with them and tell them, you did poorly. You're entering in a time when the market's expanding away from the PDA rate that you should be trading. I mean, if you get real close to the low of a fair value gap and you're bearish, I ain't going to cut you off for that. But if you're like the range of the fair value gap from the highest point and the lowest point, if you're like 1.5 times that range below the fair value gap and you just happen to make money, you're going to hear it from me. That's not what we do. We don't do those things. And that's what my son's trying to do. Like he doesn't trust the fair value gap because he hasn't seen it enough. And he's telling me he wants to do it his way and just give him a little bit of time. If he doesn't do well, then he'll do whatever I tell him to do. Well, I told him, just simply do what I told you to do. Why make this longer than it needs to be? Why put me through all this? Because I don't have the patience for it. I'm 50 years old and cantankerous and I'm set in my ways and I feel like he's just being unruly. But, I understand he's 18, he's doing what he wants to do. I understand that, but you got to listen to me or it's going to be harder for you. And some of you are just the same way. Just like one of my sons that don't want to listen. Good sound advice, and you don't want to listen. And he's not feeling too good about himself because he's trying to do things through ignorance, not knowing what he's doing. And he's seeing the difficulty in it. And he's chasing. He waits for it to move a little bit. Once it starts moving where he thinks it's going to go, and it's not all the time correct where he thinks it's going to go either, chases it. He's outside of a PD array. He's outside. He's waiting for the fair value gap to form, go into it, then move away from it. That's what he's trying to tell himself. That's his confirmation. That's his setup. And that is not a setup. That's chasing price. And I've seen that in my own students, whether it be in private mentorship or in the free mentorship. And it's just a matter of they haven't spent enough time studying price action, the old moves, seeing it over and over and over again. Condition yourself that way you can see it. And then watching it form real time. Observing it through the tape reading, not pushing a button, and then thinking to yourself, okay, it's going into that fair value gap right now, and I'm bearish. It should go up to this point here. And then in your mind, you're anticipating a turn. You're not pushing a button. You're anticipating it. You're expecting inside your brain. The dialogue is, okay, we're inside here. I want to see price repel from here. Reject this area and move away from it energetically in the direction I think the draw on liquidity is. His draw on liquidity is wrong. He's not sticking to the bias. He's not sticking to the expectations that I'm mapping out in the morning. Whatever I tell him to do, he's trying to find something up. That's like an arm wrestling match that's opposite to that. Now, some of you are probably smiling and listening to that thinking, damn it, I thought I was the only one. Just because he's my son doesn't make him exempt. He's having the same human characteristics that everybody has. You want to do your own way, your own thing. Don't walk on the grass. And he's trying to moonwalk on it. And he doesn't know how to moonwalk. So he's fumbling. And if it were anyone else, it would be amusing. But it's not amusing to me because number one, I feel like he's not listening to me, and I'm giving him time to talk to him about what it is I want to see him focusing on, and it's being disregarded. If it was anything else, I'd be in his ass about it. But I'm trying to be very careful not to break his spirit because I could very easily come down on him like an ogre and say what I want to say if it was someone like you all. I'd be like a drill sergeant, and it would hurt his feelings, and then he would have a chip on his shoulder, and then he would be resentful to me, and then he wouldn't learn how to do it. So I'm trying not to smolder this ember I have right now. And I'm trusting that his difficulty he's bringing upon himself will get to some threshold where he says, okay, I tried it my way. Whatever you say, Dad. Remember, he's the one that's the most likely to be combative. He's the competitive one in my boys. He's the more outgoing extrovert. He's the wants to show everybody. And he's seeing, much like that analogy I've used many times, where you show a guy a magic trick and he thinks right away he can go out there and do it, and he doesn't do it. He can't do it, and he thinks that he's watched a few things, listened to me explain something, and he can just go out there and just do it like everybody else does with their demo going into live fund trading. I did 30 trades, 3 of them were right. Fuck it, I'm ready. Let's get out there. Let's do some live trading. I ain't got time to be waiting around anymore. That's the same mentality, and I'm not sure what's going on, but he's doing it his way, and his way ain't the right way. So I guess it could be a little bit comforting for you to feel like even in the household of ICT, the boy wonder, who I know if he just gets his shit straightened out, he could do this better than me. He could. And I can see how I was when I was 20 years old trying to do things my way when I didn't know anything. He's doing all that same stuff. And hopefully it doesn't take as long for him to snap out of it like it did for me. But I know he doesn't like that coffee shop job, and I don't like him being there either. And the longer he does all the wrong things, that pressure is going to grind on him. It's going to grind on him. And I know it'll do its work. And it'll just be a very, very large, jagged pill that he'll have to swallow and say, all right, Dad, you were right. Okay. That's not important. Now, here's what I want you to do. And it's very simple rules. It's very simple rules. The shit I'm explaining to you today in that live stream, that's essentially what I'm teaching him. Look for that. It's very easy. It's time specific. No, no, no. No, no, Dad. Look. Look what it did over here on that day. I think that's my model. What? That just happened to move. That's nothing. There's nothing there. Okay, there's nothing there. All right. Well, this is my model. Everything he sees, it's in hindsight that's moved. That's his model because he doesn't want to do the model I'm giving him, which is the same crap that my oldest son gave me. Where I want to do my own way. I want to go into crypto. Okay. I can't make them, right? I can't make them do it just as well as I can't make any of you listen to me. The ones that listen, they get it. The ones that don't listen, they go through a lot more hardship. And you can't do that kind of stuff through ignorance and when the market's not being cooperative like it has been for a while now. The market's gyrating, it's moving around. I understand that. But what I'm specifically aiming for setups for myself, and what I'm teaching you as my students to look for, they're not as clean and frequent as we have been seeing. All that means is we're getting ready to enter a time when it's going to get really wild. We're going to have big ranges again, a lot of movement, a lot of volatility, but you can't make that come. You can't make it come faster. You have to submit to it. And that's very difficult for someone that's new. Someone that's new, they think every day is going to be like that. And you're afraid that you're going to miss that big move day, that big trending day. And today, and many other instances in the past where I've lectured and told you that we're going to have, a low resistance liquidity run condition. Lower your expectations. And then it delivers like that. That to me is like a superpower for a trader. Like you want to have that skill because that is kryptonite. Because you need movement as a trader. You need to see pricing that is a little bit exaggerated. That's what you're looking for. You want to see some animation in price that provides the movement that even if you get off on a trade and it doesn't really give you the best fill, it's still okay. You can work with it. In a market environment like this morning, you have to be absolutely laser precise inside of mud and then be willing to sit and endure back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I've done a lot of that, and it's stressful. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to be doing that because no matter what you make in an environment like that, even if you're profitable, you feel like you ran a marathon. At the end of the day, which is only a couple hours in the morning session if you're going to be trading, it feels like you worked a 9 to 5 job plus a part-time job with no sleep. Your energy level's zapped because you've expended much more mental capital holding on to something, even though it made you a gain, if it does. You spent so much energy, so much concern about being able to stay with it and will it turn against me and how long you got to wait for it to deliver. Doesn't make any sense to me to do that. I know what I'm looking for. I'm teaching you how to look for the right ones, to zero in on those days. So tomorrow we'll be live streaming again. I'll be doing the morning session. And we'll be looking at I'm probably going to start the stream at like 9:45 because I want to see more specifically the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock conditions. So I don't really necessarily need the opening range. So we'll start that live session tomorrow at 9:45. Get everybody a chance to show up late like you do sometimes, just like school and work. I don't see that. And then when we're done with that tomorrow, because I'm doing this Twitter space here now, that will complete my time with you all until we get to the other side of Passover. Which brings me to the discussion now, tinfoil hat discussion, or the tinfoil and yarn. So anything past this point, folks, if you would please just try not to include this on your YouTube channel. I get messaged with people thinking that I have a problem or would have a problem with you uploading the Twitter spaces. I never have an issue with that. I know you guys are uploading them, you're monetizing them, you're getting paid for doing it. I don't care. I don't want them on my channel because I use language that I really don't want on that YouTube channel. But I don't want this discussion on YouTube. So unless you want me to take all of those live streams or those Twitter spaces down on your channel, just don't put this part up, okay? I promise I won't mess with any of you that are doing other ones. Just this one, don't do it, okay? So I'm not sure if you've been paying attention or not, but a lot of countries are de-dollarizing. They're not trying to do business with our US dollar here in the States. So right away, some of you are going to be like, oh, this doesn't have anything to do with me. Good. Go watch something else. It will be something you're going to be concerned about, I promise you, because there's going to be reverberations across all the markets. But last summer, I remember sitting in a parking lot, much like I'm sitting now. Not in the same place, but I talked to you all about how when we get into March, April time period of 2023, you're going to start seeing signs that are going to be undeniable. And then you're going to start paying attention. Because right now it just sounds like tinfoil hat. And it doesn't make any difference what I say, because it doesn't most likely pan out. Because it's a conjecture. It's something that you're going to view, if some of you are listening to this and don't understand what I'm talking about, you're going to say it's fear porn, okay? Or it's conspiracy theory, or it's just trying to incite fear. I'm not trying to incite fear. I want you to be aware and prepare. That's all. You're not going to stop it, and I'm not going to stop it. Just like I said last summer. My personal students, longer term students, they know I've talked about these things coming longer than last summer. This last summer, I just made it open, talked about it publicly in a venue like this. But we have been watching these things for years come to fruition. And here we are. Here we are. The Saudi Arabia commitment between the US and them for their oil, that's been a long-standing understanding. When Nixon took us off the gold standard, really we didn't have anything behind our dollar. And then it became the petrodollar, because we told Saudi Arabia, we're going to protect you from no one, because nobody was trying to do anything to them. So that's a mafia shakedown, basically. And you're going to have to sell your oil in dollars. So whoever wants to buy your oil, they have to convert it to US dollars, which artificially keeps our dollar in value and keeps it in circulation and provides worth. Whereas otherwise, it's still a paper. This whole house of cards, with what we've been doing as a country, printing money like nobody's business, creating it out of thin air with nothing behind it, literally nothing behind it, now, because Saudi Arabia is joining hands with China and Russia and the other BRICS nations. And their common goal is to move away from the Western approach to commerce, banking, trade, and removing the dollar. Now, for the folks in the United States, this is something that you need to be really concerned about, because we're fastly approaching when just in a day, maybe as little as an hour, our currency could be devalued in such a way, in such a stunning way, that will present so much violence and uncertainty, and you will be scared for that. When all the stores get looted because all the prices go hugely higher, super inflation, hyperinflation. Look at Venezuela. Before I lay down tonight, I'm gonna send you a link to a book I think all of you should read. It's circulated around on the internet through a PDF file. I don't want to do that to the author, because he put time into producing it and he should be compensated for it. But I know invariably some of you are going to just, not have any couth and just try to find it and share it. And that's unfortunate, because these people that are creating content that lived through that episode in Venezuela, how he saw it, how he got through it, how he helped his family endure it, what he was doing, what ideas didn't work, what ideas did. You need to be making yourself, a plan. And if you haven't been paying attention, if you've been just simply discounting it as, oh, well, ICT said it's going to do this and this, I can still get beans off the shelf at the store. I can still buy a loaf of bread. And yeah, eggs went up to $8 a dozen, sometimes a little bit more than that, but they're not that expensive now. You have no idea what's coming. You have no idea. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, you don't either. Demo bowler guy. You guys talk about track records, man. I've been batting 1,000 when it comes to all this stuff. I've been years ahead of it. And now it's crunch time. The time I told you last summer to prepare for, how was you supposed to prepare? Non-perishable foods, canned goods that last years beyond the dates on the bottom of the can that says best buy. Best buy means it's best if you buy more of it from us. So here, hurry up and use it by this date. And if you don't use it, just throw it away and buy more of it so we make more money. That's what the best buy date is, folks. It's not like milk or bread. When those dates are, well, you have just a little bit of time past that. The milk will spoil, will stale, the bread will stale. Canned goods, I've eaten stuff years past it, and I've never gotten sick, and it didn't taste any different. So I had students that were in my mentorship or still in my mentorship, and were listening to me tell them in 2020, try to amass yourself 6 to 12 months worth of food, and then use that, rotate it out. That way, when there's a supply chain shock, and we ain't seen that yet, you're just seeing the beginnings of it. When you can't get things because everything's too expensive, and the folks that simply won't be able to pay for it just simply go in and take it. Oh, there's going to be food in the stores. No, there won't. There won't be. And it's going to be dangerous. Think, folks, the United States, we have been the biggest bully for years. And all that stuff's coming home to roost. Oh, we don't like the way you're doing things, and we're going to put sanctions on your ass. The sanctions wasn't hurting them. You think it's hurting Putin? No, it ain't hurting him. But it sounds good to the media viewers here in the United States. Oh, yeah, we're putting it to them. You're not doing anything to them. They're literally crushing our economy, they're crushing our monetary system. That's what's coming, folks. All of these nations are coming together. Okay. And if you are a person that has ever read the Bible, and I'm not going to preach too much here, but I'm just going to toss this out there for the folks that are privy to it. You hear all these stories about it's the United Nations, that's the beast system, or it's this and it's that. No, you're watching it happen right now. The fourth and dreadful beast of Daniel chapter 4 is these BRICS nations coming together. Look at their countries, animal, Russian bear, right? Chinese dragon. All these nations have these figures that draw an identity to them. This fourth beast that's coming together, okay, it's unlike any other beast, and a beast is a nation. That's what the whole scripture talks about. So without sounding too churchy, just understand this. We're watching something that nobody saw coming. Everybody writes prophecy books and stuff, and they were writing them before Israel became a nation again. And until Jerusalem became its capital again in the 6 Day War, all those prophecies, everybody had no idea what they're talking about because God's timepiece did not start until then. And don't send me your emails and tell me you wrote books and you've been watching. I don't want to hear about all that. Okay. I don't want to hear about it. If I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. But what I'm telling you is everything that we're about to see was already foretold. And these nations are going to bring Mystery Babylon, which is America, down. There's no other nation on this planet that meets the characteristics of the United States. We don't produce anything. Not anymore. We consume. That means we buy. We do trade with everybody else in the form of imports. So we are a consuming nation. But we are Mystery Babylon. That's the way it is. What makes us mysterious? Mysterious is because look what happened to us. We were elevated to a superpower. We were the police and mafia of everybody's country. We didn't like you as the president. We went in there and we overthrew your leaders for the sake of democracy. We're going to spread some democracy in your country. That's what we're doing. How long do you think that was going to go on before these other nations, these other superpowers, India, China, and Russia? Look, listen, folks, listen. I'm an American, okay? And in my heart, I'm a Billy Badass American. I am just like everybody thinks Americans are, okay? But I'm also practical. We are Billy Badass, G.I. Joe. We are. But who we have leading us right now, we are a limp fucking noodle. We're not doing anything for our own country. We're not improving the shit that's being tore up. Everything that's going on right now is a controlled implosion. It's being done on purpose. And some of you are just walking around pretending like everything's normal. It's just whatever. It's the left, it's the right, it's the extremist, it's the that, it's the other. No, 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 no. All of this is happening. And when this country, America, falls, and it is, all the people, all the countries, the merchants that were far off that did trade with her will mourn because she's no more. They can't sell their goods to her anymore. Why? Because we're fucking broke. We're broke. Okay. I'm a multimillionaire, but I'm telling you, what's coming won't keep me in that state. And I don't have an answer for it. Think about that. All these people are, I'm rich in Bitcoin. You're fucking going to lose your ass too. Everything that they're doing is going to be smashing any form of currency except for what they're bringing. You're not going to hide from it. You're not going to escape it. So what should you be doing? You should be buying food, medicines, things that creature comfort things, not potato chips and fucking bonbons, but things that you need around the house while you can get them. But I don't have that much money on ICT. What do? Buy food, non-perishable food. In 2016, when I was on Twitter before the elections, I said Donald Trump was going to be the winner. Not because I wanted him in there. I was interested to see how a non-political person would fare in that condition. But I said they're going to use him as a fall guy. And damn it, I'm telling you, you might hate me, might think I'm an asshole with everything else and egotistical, this, that, and the other thing. But I was fucking right. I've called this shit perfectly. More precise than some of the trades I call to the pip. And that's scary. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what prompted me to say the things I said when I was talking about it. But I just felt like I had to say it. And I feel that way same right now. And I'm not trying to scare you. I don't want you to be afraid, but this ain't the time to be scared. But there's coming a time when shit is upside down and you can't afford anything. Our country, okay, our country is going to have such an inflation and your money is going to be next to nothing. That's what's coming. But don't be afraid for too long because the solution's right in the offing. It's the central bank digital currency. After all, they got to have a solution for the problem they're bringing. They got gasoline, a rag, and a match right now. And behind them, they got buckets of water. They're going to start the fire, spread it, and say, look what we got to deal with. Don't worry. We're from the government, and we're here to help you. The fact that I'm talking to you on this app right now, I'm not confident that we're going to be able to use this app soon. or at least talk like I'm talking. There's a bill in the United States that you're trying to pass. They're dubbing it the TikTok bill. That has nothing to do with TikTok. It has everything to do with spreading information, sharing information, and proving the shit that you're enduring where you're at is really happening. Censorship in the most extreme manner. That's another reason why I want to get off of Twitter. I want to be done in November. And I'm hoping I can get everything done by then. Because the topics I talk about, the things I say, that puts a bullet, hopefully it's not a bullet. Instant death, instant glory. I ain't too afraid of it. Fuck off if you think you're going to bring something like that. But I don't want to put a bullseye on me needlessly. Not when it's open season for all that shit. They don't want us being able to communicate. When shit starts going down, they want to be able to. Well, think about it. When war takes place. What's the first thing you do to your enemy? Cut communications, cut off rationing, any kind of food supply and water, power. So for this type of unconventional warfare, which is what's going on in our country right now, and you don't even see it, do you? All these food plants that are blowing up and burning down, fertilizer companies catching on fire and blowing up with no intentions of reopening. Who the hell does that? Like fertilizers are going out of business. Like there's no more need for fertilizer. Yeah, it blew up. Fuck it. I'm not going to start another one. I'm not going to restart. It's just we're done. Really? All these train derailments. It's interesting. Kentucky came out and said, well, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to be doing all this bullshit that the federal government wants us to do, and we're going to ban this and ban that, and you're not going to be able to do shit in Kentucky. Well, what do you know? The very next day, a fucking train derails, and there's toxic fucking waste pouring out. Mm-hmm. Random, isn't it? I have a lot of friends that talk about how I'm going to move to Florida. I've been down to Florida. I've been down there for a while, and it's too fucking hot. It's too hot, and there's a lot of bugs down there. And there's a lot of people that move down there thinking they're going to escape all the tyrannical bullshit, just like down in Texas. Well, Texas has its own problems. It has all these people coming in across the border, a lot of crime, a lot of shit going on down there. And Texas and Florida is where all the shit's going to go down because that's where they've allowed all the people with that mindset to go there. All the mindset of I don't want to be part of this group. So therefore I'm going to go down there. Why do you think I'm in fucking Maryland? I can afford to be anywhere I want to be. But I sit right here because I'm not going to be like the herd and run to Texas and run to Florida because that's where all the shit's going to hit. Take my word for it. Watch and see. You're seeing train derailments and toxic fucking waste bullshit in Ohio, which they're still mishandling. Then in Pennsylvania, going into Delaware, thousands of gallons of toxic shit going in their water supply. And we're getting all of our stores here locally, and we're in Maryland. All the water was gone, except for the stuff that nobody wants to drink. Think about it, folks. What are you going to do? This has nothing to do with fear, okay? What are you going to do when you can't get fresh drinking water? What are you going to do for your child that maybe requires water for its food preparation? But your water is potentially tainted and you can't go to the store to get bottled water. Where are you going to get the water from? See, these are the types of things that Venezuela didn't think about until all the shit hit there when their currency was devalued and everything went upside down. As much as this sounds like it's impossible, it's never going to happen in America. If you are thinking that, really, really take in how much the world is moving quickly to try to get this shit done, being de-dollarized, not using the dollar for anything. What is our dollar going to be worth when every other country says fuck off? The toilet paper that you wipe your ass with will be worth more. Food, you won't be able to afford it. There won't be a lot of production of a lot of shit. And crime is going to go through the roof in every fucking state. Every one of them. And when it starts, people will want to mobilize and they'll start wanting to do these things that the government doesn't want us to do. Over in France, they're raising hell over there. Bet you didn't know about it. They're telling their government to go fuck themselves. They're raising the retirement age by 2 years or something to that effect. And they're telling them all about it. Like, no, we're not going to let that happen quietly. When there's these uprisings, okay, other countries, I'm not going to sit here and list them all off here, but there's a lot of shit going on in other countries where people are coming together and they're basically saying, we're not doing it your way. And I'm not trying to rabble rouse. I'm not saying that you should be doing that. I'm just saying, what are you going to do when that shit happens in your neighborhood? In stores, gas stations are not in operation. What are you going to do? Because that's what's coming. That's the science fiction level shit that's coming. It's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable. There will be sleepless nights because you'll be afraid that people are trying to get into your shit to take what you got. And do you have precious metal in there that you can ventilate them if they try? You might not like firearms. You may be against them, but there's coming a time where you're probably going to wish you had one. It's going to get dangerous. It's going to get unruly. People are not going to be able to get the shit they need. They won't be able to afford anything. And panic will set in. And people that can't eat and can't feed their kids, they're not going to give a shit about you or your family. They're not going to give a shit about your house, what you're driving, none of that. We're entering a time that's going to be very, very dangerous. And you need to take advantage of the time right now while you can and get what you can. I understand food's expensive, but canned goods, they last a long time. And a lot of those foods, you can eat them right out of the can. They don't have to be heated up. It's better if it is, obviously, but you don't need to. Worst case scenario, you could sit them over top of a makeshift fire. You don't need power to heat that up or gas coming to your house. You can eat that if you had to. And I'm going to be real honest and blunt right here. I know some of you that are listening to this, you may not like this conversation. It may be feeling, maybe make you feel uncomfortable. It may turn you off that you want to come back and listen to me. That's okay. I understand. It seems far fetched. If you've not been paying attention, then it probably seems completely out in left field. I understand. But in 2010, I was reading that forum on baby pips, knowing a lot of the stuff I'm talking about right here, where we were heading, what was likely to happen. But I thought I had a little bit more time. I don't think I have that much time now. We don't have that much time. And last year when I was talking about it, it probably was easy for you to dismiss it. But now you're starting to see some things. Okay. Even the friggin' news is talking about how the other countries around the world are moving away from the dollar. You think there's something magically going to happen that they change their mind? Oh, we're just kidding. We're just kidding, America. We were just fucking with you. We're not doing anything. We're going to keep using the dollar. That's not going to happen, folks. That's not going to happen. And believe me, the fact that we can't answer all that shit at one time. Now, if it was one smaller country, remember when Gaddafi was saying he was going to do his own show and use a gold-backed currency, and they went in there and murdered him right there and filmed it all. They can't do that when it's Russia, China, India, all these other nations. We're in checkmate right now. So, what does that create? What does that present? A 9/11 situation where they have to absolutely wipe the board with everything that went on with COVID. Because people are waking up to that's all bullshit. They've wasted our economy. And I told you it's going to take 18 months before you start seeing the signs of that. And we've been watching it unfold. And then now we're getting ready to go into deep, deep waters of it all. You just can't do a grinding halt like that for as long as we were doing it. And everything's just going to just spring back. Everything's fine. No. You hear these people talking about how the market's been up, right? Like, oh, yeah, we've discounted all the bank collapsing. The banks haven't collapsed yet. They're coming. The fact that these guys in Silicon Valley Bank were pulling their shit out and they're trying to dismiss, oh, that's the reason why your money's safe. Let me tell you something, okay? I have millions of dollars and I know my money ain't safe. It's not safe. I have no idea how it's going to impact to the the lengths of how far this kind of collapse shit will happen. I just hold on to it loosely. My happiness, my life doesn't revolve around money. It doesn't. It never has. If it did, I'd be out here flaunting all the time. I'd be out here doing things that everybody else can't do. My life has been about preparing, obviously, for this type of stuff here and relationships, my family, and the close friends that I have, and all of you, my internet family. But these nations are not fucking around, folks. They had enough. And when it's just one of them, yeah, we can go there and start some shit with them, and there'll be a war, maybe a proxy war. And that's always been our response. Oh, okay. Well, you're trying to start your own currency and get away from the dollar. Well, you need some democracy. There's a war just broke out. A false flag event occurs, and there it is. Now we're in war. They have weapons of mass destruction. They've done something heinous and terrible to humankind. Now, here we are. We're in war with somebody. But now, here we are. Billy Badass, Uncle Sam, Bare Knuckle Sam. He's got a fucking bunch of people surrounding his ass right now. He's outnumbered. Yeah, we got some really good technology. Yes, we got some badass weapons. But, but, we have a lot of people saying, I ain't joining the military for these people. They woke up. They saw a lot of the shit that we've been going through the last 25, 30 years. These wars, these things, these operations they've been doing, they're not justified. And you're going to send your kids to that shit? My kids aren't going. I'm going to fuck what you say. They're not fighting that shit for you. The lowest enrollments for all military branches right now, we've been seeing that. Maybe you have a teenager like I have. I talked my son, Cameron, out of joining the Navy. He wanted to do it because he has my wife's, let me see how to say this. My wife's cousins, both husband and wife, were Navy, and their children, they joined the Navy too. And he's got a really nice retirement and whatever. But I told him, I said, please don't do it. I would rather pay for his lifestyle than for him to join that. They're not putting my son out there in that meat grinder. Fuck them. Put your own fucking children out there first. Put them on the fucking front line, and then I'll think about bringing mine. But that never happens. So fuck them. So what's going to happen when all hell breaks loose? War. When our currency goes tits up, war will begin. You're all waiting for World War III. I think it really begins when they fuck our dollar. When that happens, somebody's ass is going to be chewed on because our country's going to look for some perfect scapegoat as to why it happened. We had to do this because of an act of war. Any other time, any movement against our currency was viewed as what? An act of war. So what does America do when all these other major nations that are nuclear, India has nuclear bombs, China has nuclear bombs, and Russia has nuclear bombs, and they outnumber us? We can say all the shit we want. We're going to do this. We're going to put sanctions against you. We're going to send money, taxpayer money into Ukraine, and we're going to beef up this and beef up that. They're fucking laughing. They're literally laughing. They're like, you have no idea the chokehold that they have on American dollars right now. The influence that all these other nations are having on other nations that have yet to join their movement with de-dollarization, it's gaining momentum. And there's a lot of little small countries that may not go along with it, that maybe we can, encourage, or maybe they just think that it's better if they keep the side of the United States. But most of these nations aren't doing that. And the ones that mattered most have already put their middle finger up and said, fuck off. And I told you last year, watch Saudi Arabia. And here they are. They're making the move, saying, yeah, to South Africa, you can buy our oil in your own currency and not use the dollar. Oh, really? Really? So you're going to see all these little proxy wars spring up, okay? Because we're not going to go over there to Putin's backyard. We're not going to go over there in China. We're not going to be dropping bombs in those countries. We're going to do these little side alley squabbles because we can't afford to have a Russia, a China sending ballistic missiles over here, which comes to the necessary evil. There has to be a monster, has to be a boogeyman. And in September 11th, 2001, we were told, and I believed every bit of it, that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. And I was pissed off at everybody over there. I wanted to see everybody get bombs dropped on them. And I ain't ashamed to say it because I believed the bullshit that was being told to me. I had anxiety. I had agoraphobia. I was a mess. So all that shit had a major impact on me. I don't buy into that bullshit no more. If you keep seeing it over and over and over again, and you start understanding what it is that they do, you don't fall victim to it anymore. You're awake to it. But if you constantly keep your eyes closed and your ears plugged up, and you don't want to listen and really see it for what it is, it's easy to dismiss other people and discussions like this as this conspiracy or crackpot ideas. But we are at a precipice right now in the United States. I'm literally looking around, everybody driving their cars around, going in and out of these businesses and shopping and shit. They're just oblivious to what's going on. Like they have no idea that the money that's in their bank account is moments away from fucking worthless. And there ain't nothing any of us can do about it. That's insanity, right? Like we've allowed ourselves to get to this point. We've allowed these central banks to just print, pull it out of thin air. And now they're getting ready to produce bills and laws and things that literally make it illegal for you to do what you'd normally do. post shit on the internet, use your First Amendment right, share your opinion about your government, about the way they do things, what they haven't done correct. This bill that they're getting ready to potentially put into the law, they're trying to frame it with it's TikTok, it's dangerous, it's taking your data. Everybody's fucking data has been taken. As soon as you touch your phone, literally, this is what happened the other night. My son Caleb was at the house, and we were talking about weird shit like animals taking out other animals and how killer whales can dismantle a great white shark. And we ended up talking about something about the cartels. And I said, yeah, years ago, I was on the wrong side of YouTube and I saw this video that said cartel and it had these two guys standing there in the thumbnail. I was like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not trying to go to sleep. It's Saturday. Let me see what this thing does. And I wish I never would have watched the video. This guy's taking a chainsaw to these men and literally just tears them apart right on YouTube. And I wish I could get that out of my brain. Like, I wish I could have never seen that. I didn't know what I was about to see. So, by me talking about that with my son, and then we transitioned from that into the topic about killer whales and great white sharks and shit. And then some of you were there listening to me about trading. You're wondering, how the hell did we get on this topic? Again, this is a tinfoil hat. I told you once we got past that certain point, we're not talking about the markets anymore. We're talking about shit that's outside of the markets. Conspiracy stuff. Well, we started talking about this cartel shit, and I talked about how I saw that video. And then I said, there's a video of this great white shark that's being held upside down by a killer whale, which allows it to drown because you turn the shark upside down, it's disoriented basically, and then it will drown. Well, a killer whale knows that, and it did it on video. So I went to go to YouTube. I grabbed one of my chairs at the dining room table and I spun around. I said, here, look at this. Open up YouTube. And the first video suggestion was cartel chainsaw murder. That means that my laptop was listening to me because I don't look for that shit. So you're all pissed off and like, oh, listen to these Republicans making a case. Oh, you're using TikTok. I don't use TikTok. My wife fucking does. I can't stand it. And many times her phone has forced ads on her by listening to our conversation in the car. All of a sudden she's looking at shit, saying, look at this. We were talking about this in the car just 10 minutes ago. Yeah. These fucking devices are literally bugs. It's espionage. And you're paying for it. And they're entertaining you with all these fucking toys and games and things, these apps that keep you distracted from really what you're doing. You're carrying around a listening device that tracks every fucking thing that you're doing with your finances, what you're looking at, where's your attention, what are you looking for, who are you hanging out with, who's your friends, everything. This is a CIA, FBI dream country. It's a wet dream for people that want to abuse power. That's what this is, and you're holding your hand right now. You're listening to it. And you're allowing these politicians to tell you that they're going to save you from China's TikTok listening bullshit because it's stealing your data. When Zuckerberg has fucking been selling your shit for profit, and why didn't you get a cut of that? It's your shit, right? Your data isn't your property. And they've changed the laws and made it seem that that's the way it is now. They own you. They own your information, not you. These are your choices that you made on the internet. But their data that they collected from you, they own that. That's intellectual property for them. And they're trying to say that TikTok is the issue. Now, I don't like fucking TikTok. I can't stand it. And I'm not trying to defend TikTok. But what I'm trying to tell you is this bill that they're trying to push in is literally a bunch of bullshit. It's a Trojan horse, meaning that they're going to use this to usher in more liberties and freedoms to be stripped away under the guise of protection, just like the Patriot Act. They call you a terrorist, boom, you are in jail, no representation, nobody sees you, it's over for you. You have been fucking erased. That's not constitutional, but yet there it was. This is just like that, but on steroids, because now they can put you in prison up to 20 years and fine you $1 million for doing something that you're doing right now. That is a way to keep people from rising the fuck up and sharing information. When shit's deep in your neck of the woods, they're going to make it so you ain't doing it. You're not going to spread this information so where other people can see it and be informed and prepare. Or war crimes. There won't be any documentation of that. Won't be any spreading of that kind of shit going on. First rule of engagement, kill comms. No communication. So that way you can't communicate with allies or ask for backup when the shitstorm starts coming down. We're at that stage, folks. It's coming. Social media, it's been useful up to this point because they brainwashed all of you. They've only showed you one side of the same coin. So that way your votes will be swayed. But now they don't give a fuck. The people that are in office right now, they're all World Economic Forum cronies. All of them. Every world leader out there right now have been placed in by that organization. They're all part of it. And Putin is too. it's it's madness. Like literally, the inmates are running the asylum. And there ain't a fucking thing that any of us can do about it. You're gonna rise up. Oh yeah, you're gonna form your militias and do all that 1776 bullshit. That's exactly what they want. They want that to happen. They exactly want that. Because when that happens, martial law is instigated, and then bang, we are now a police state. And they will never go away. If you look at how art imitates life, many times art is a precursor to what we end up enduring in real life. Movies, some weird outbreak of some contagion comes in, and people have to deal with that. And it's horrifying to see everything that's depicted in the movie. Oh, but it's in the movie ICT. Don't get too wrapped up in all that bullshit. Yeah, I get it. Okay, but there's a reason why they call it TV programming. They're programming your response to it. So that way, when they say, there's a terrible fungus in the flower, well, what are you going to think? You think that it's the fucking The Last of Us series, and all of a sudden you're going to have a fucking cabbage growing off your forehead wanting to eat people. That's priming. Okay, they want people to have irrational fears. What I'm talking about is not irrational. What I'm talking about is not to incite panic. It's to wake you to fuck up and see what's really going on. And it's about to get real stupid. The things that they're trying to put in place literally strips any rights as an American. So if there's not going to be any respect for the Constitution, not that we've seen a lot of that anyway, and if there's no more US dollar in the sense that we're used to having it right now, well, shit, let's just do it all up and just make it impossible for anybody to do anything. Or you go to jail for 20 years and fine up to $1 million. You want to have something scary? Read the shit that they're trying to put out there in that bill. Really read it because it's bipartisan. It's not just the Democrats trying to do that. The Republicans are doing it too. They're bought and paid for. They're all actors in this theater. This whole world is a fucking stage. And we are the ones that's going to be left holding the bag. They're getting rich. They're making all their moves in office. And now they have power. All the right people that they want in office are there. Even all these people, Lindsey Graham, these fucking clowns, these people are operatives. They are all part of it. Ron DeSantis, I'm sorry to break your hopes and dreams about this guy, but he's not the replacement for the Trump. And Trump ain't an answer if he was to get reelected. I don't think he's going to get reelected. He shouldn't be. Let's put it that way. But they're trying to get people pissed off. They want people to rabble rouse. Oh, we're going to arrest Trump. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Maybe he did something that deserved it. I don't know. But I'm not going to fucking riot and go crazy for fucking that guy. I wouldn't do that for any one person. But they wanted to see who was going to bite that. And it was interesting. There was hardly nobody. So they know they can't get our populace whipped up into a frenzy like they are over in France. They're in the fucking streets throwing down. They're going wild over there. And they have beat the American populace into such a submission that they'll just take whatever that's given to them now. They're literally telling them, we're going to protect you from TikTok, but really, we're going to take every fucking right away from you and potentially be able to throw your ass in prison for 20 years and write your ass off if you do things that we don't like. Any transaction that meets their definition, any transaction. Really? Wow. That's overreach. That's really government overreach. And people that know and understand the gravity of that bill, they may have been on the left side and they may have been the right side, but they're not a politician. Not in the sense that we see these people up in the Capitol Hill performing this bullshit. But people that would be at odds with one another. Oh, you Trumper, you MAGAs, or what do you call them, maggots? And then, oh, you liberal left. You know, that's exactly what they've designed. They have been making it so that way you and I are always at each other's throats, because then you'll never see them for what they are, the problem. And just stop listening to them. Just stop listening to them. You don't have to go out there and burn your cities down. You don't have to go down there and tear up shit. Just don't listen to them. If everybody doesn't listen, they're powerless. But they're going to create and whip up some kind of fear. And what is worse than a plague that's going to kill you if you stand up in a restaurant and breathe? Think about the fucking nonsense that they tricked people into believing. You could go into a restaurant, you could take your mask off and eat, but you fucking stand up without that mask, you're a dead man. You're a fucking dead man. That thing will be waiting for you as soon as you stand up and you're not wearing your mask, you're fucked. I literally see people around my neighborhood, and these people are upstanding folks. They're driving around in a car by them fucking selves with a fucking mask on. Some of them walk around with the mask still and they have a visor, the plastic shield thing. So that way, I guess, it's extra protection. They're mentally scarred by all this stuff. Yes, the flu kills people. I got it. Okay. I got a real bad case of it. I lost my ability to smell and taste for months. I burnt an orange, bit into it, gone. I had all my taste buds back and I could smell fine. I didn't have to go on a ventilator. I didn't get the shot. I won't get the fucking shot. And I don't care how your feelings about that is. I don't care. I had doctors in my fucking mentorship that were literally arguing with me in the fucking emails. And I literally was just simply saying to them, I understand. I understand. Okay. I understand. Trust me. But I also know people that fucking died from that shot. One dose, smoked, heart and brain, inflamed, dead, perfectly healthy people. So now my question to you is, what is the scary boogeyman condition that they're going to have to create to get people so fucking wrapped up in fear that they're going to listen to what the government tells them to do? Think, what would it be? Chemical warfare or nuclear? Can you smell nuclear fallout? No. Do you have a Geiger counter in your house that if they said fallout is moving right now, there was a bomb that just dropped here, it came from so and so, China, Russia, something, and there's fallout coming in your way. Don't leave your house. You can't see it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. That's a scary fucking situation, isn't it? Think about it. Think about that. You think about these people that were in Ohio, that they're fucking poisoned now. They have dioxins everywhere up there. That shit is so carcinogenic. It's literally a death sentence for them. And they fucked around up there and let these people fall victim to that. And they're trying to move that shit that they've dug up and cleaned up. They're trying to push it in other states. Does that sound like they got their best interest for the public in mind? Fuck no. Think, folks, think. They're going to have some kind of scary ass event. They already got Russia and China. That's the dynamic duo. Twin powers. It's going to crush the United States with nuclear bombs. So imagine this for a second for a plot. A small tactical nuke is used somewhere in the United States. Think about this now. It's going to be across the headlines eventually. There was an explosion, a mushroom cloud. People are going to be sharing it on social media. Look at this shit. You're going to be scared shitless then. Is that going to happen where I'm at? Is that stuff going to blow in my direction? What's the wind and the weather right now? Because that's exactly what we were doing over here when that shit went down with that train derailment in Ohio. I'm just about 200 miles away from that. In the wind direction of that. And we have streams that come down through gunpowder and all that stuff, I'm sure, seeps into my well water. Which is why I have 8 motherfucking distillers. We don't digest or ingest our water unless it's filtered through a zero water filter so I can get the majority of the particulates out of it. And then I distill it. And then I store it in glass. I don't fuck around with that stuff. And reverse osmosis ain't enough. And what are you going to do when you don't have the salts to use for your reverse osmosis? You're fucked. You have to have a way of doing it. And I have 2 moonshiners distillers. Not that I make alcohol because I don't drink, but I keep them as a backup. So if I do lose power, all I need to do is make a fire underneath them and I'm distilling water too. 2 gallons at a time. That's 4 gallons each time. Maybe you don't have the money, the funds to do these types of things, but you need to start networking with your friends and family because you might not be able to do it by yourself, but you need to be making your close friends and family aware of the shit that's about to happen. And you don't need to be a crackpot. You ain't got to be fanatical about it and panic. Just simply look around and see what I'm talking about. See if it's not really going on. Because if you can't see it, then I'm pulling you out of my ass. And you shouldn't listen to me. Don't even come back to my channel. Don't look at me on Twitter. Just write me off as a crackpot. That's okay. But I'm convinced that if you just start taking a look at the things I'm talking about, the writing's on the wall. It's happening. It's coming. Okay. And most people are not prepared. And that to me is scary. Because I've had literally people quit my mentorship over this topic alone. Who gives a fuck how right I was about calling the market? Who cares? This was a division that they couldn't deal with. It was like, nope, I'm not talking about politics. Did I say anything about fucking politics? Did I say who I'm voting for? Because I've never voted in my life. I've never voted. It doesn't matter. It's a selection, not an election. And every country has been exposed now as all these elections have been fucking rigged. Who's been doing it? The World Economic Forum. They've been doing it. They put who they want in there. You hear these people talking bitch about all the time. I've done it too. Like, out of all the people in the United States, that's the choices we have to pick from. All these fucking clowns that's the best that we had to offer? No, come on. Something's wrong here. Social media alone. I mean, think about it. There's a guy that's he's real popular on TikTok. My wife shows me his stuff all the time. Look at this guy. He goes to a restaurant. I think his name's Keith. Keith or Kevin. I think it's Keith. He's a black gentleman. He's, very mild mannered, and he gets out there and says, "Look, I'm going to go here. I'm going to try it." And then if he says he likes your shit, all of a sudden you have business out your ass. Okay. Well, I'm not sure where I was going with that. I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost my train of thought. It'll probably come back to me. But oh no, oh man, this rarely happens to me. I have no idea where I was going with that. Damn it. It's probably really good too. Well, it'll probably have to be a Saturday Twitter space then in the moment. Part two. The, anyway, I want you to have at least some chance of making whatever readiness you can. I've had lots of people. Um, I think that's where I was going with it. I had people quit my mentorship because they thought I was being political, and I'm not political. I'm anti-political. I'm not even an independent. I don't have any faith in the voting system in any country. I believe that governments are not doing the best for our sakes as a populace, as a public, the community of our individual nations. I think that we are victimized, and they keep us at odds with one another through racial division, cultural division, status, the rich against the poor. I'm rich, and I spend more time with all of you than I do with my family. Think about that. I don't fit that mold. None of those things, that I don't fit any of that stuff because I'm completely outside of all that horseshit. I'm an independent, free thinker, and I try to inspire everybody I come in contact to be the same way. Be tolerant of everybody else's differences, understanding that, we're not all gonna like every aspect of us. And just like there's certain things about me, I'm sure that you don't like. But my intentions for all of you with the time that you spend with me is to make you better prepared for everything. And I may not be successful. And I hope you don't judge me on the fact that this is something that I might not be successful in preparing all of you for. But it's at least giving me a clear conscience that I'm trying and I'm working my ass off to do it. The only way I can. But what are you going to do? You're just going to say, well, I'll deal with it when it happens. That's not that's not responsible. You can't just turn your head away from it and think, well, as long as I don't pay it any mind, it won't stress me out and I ain't got to worry about it. Because then when it really hits, the gravity of your ill preparedness will paralyze you. Food. Listen, folks, it doesn't cost that much, really. I guarantee you, if you take all your fucking McDonald's trips out of the spending that you do over the course of a month, all the fast food, all the going out and girl money spending on the weekend, getting drunk, all your recreational drug purchases, weed, all the other shit that you might be getting wrapped up into, all your other vices, your fashion shit. You got to keep up with the Joneses. Sell some stuff that you don't really use. Raise some money like that. Couple grand. A couple grand can give you 2 years worth of really good shelf stable food. And do not buy that fucking dehydrated bullshit that comes in those barrels or those boxes, survival food. A lot of people don't realize this, but if you try to eat that shit, number one, the sodium's so high, you're going to have your health fail you quicker eating that horse shit. and you're going to be constipated. So unless you like being constipated, that's what you're going to get. So you see these guys say, I got 5 fucking years of this shit I'm invested in. I'm set. No, you're not. You're going to be miserable. Miserable. Just because it says it's worth 30 years of shelf life doesn't mean I want to be able to fucking eat that shit. I have none of that stuff. I bought none of that horse shit. None. My stuff is in cans or it's jarred. And like tomato sauce and like spaghetti sauce and those types of things, they last for years past their best by date. Just keep them in a climate controlled environment, out of light, and they will be fine for years. It does not take much to amass a good 2 years worth of food. And you got to have a way to filter your water and uh, procure water. Where I live at, we have Gunpowder Falls. I could literally walk out back of my home, and I have a forest line that separates me from two other homeowners. So I have 8 acres, and there's a stream that runs back there. And if I walk down towards the end of the cul-de-sac that my house is on, I can walk through the properties, go into the Gunpowder Falls area, and there's a larger stream that I could literally have myself and my boys. We can go there, grab a bucket of water, and then I can filter it. I have rain catchment, 50-gallon barrels of that shit that collects in the ground. It's easy to pull out of. It's not unsightly in my property. It's completely aesthetic. Nobody sees it, but I have it. Those things can be done over a weekend. You got it. It's there. Go to Tractor Supply Warehouse and get yourself a couple of those 50-gallon drums. Go to Home Depot, get a couple of valves and some screen, and you can have rain catchment that doesn't have to go on the ground. And you got 50 gallons of drinkable, potable water. I ain't got time for that ICT. I understand. This message ain't for you. It ain't for you. Somebody's going to listen. Somebody's going to listen. And I had hundreds of people out of the many thousands that were in my first round of talking about this stuff in mentorship that were initially, I ain't interested in this shit. This is silly. I ain't doing it. And then they wanted to come back because they started seeing the shit go upside down. Michael, I'm sorry. It just, you got to understand what you were talking about. It made no sense. Like, I thought you were crazy. And now there's no food in my grocery store. I have no way to get food for my family. What do I do? I don't know. I'm not in your country. I don't know how you are going to get your stuff delivered to you. And they were in tears sending me these emails telling me that they did not listen and they regret it. And then I have other emails that came with, I listened to you. Admittedly, I thought it was a little crazy, but I just started buying a little bit extra each week. And then when we started seeing all the stuff happening, we went out and just went crazy and bought a lot of stuff. And I'm glad I did because he lost his job. There was no food, no way of getting any medications for months, and he would not be able to sustain his family. And I was so thankful that he did that because he was able to share with me that him and his family were able to get through that. They didn't listen to this as some crackpot bullshit. They said, you know what? This makes good sense. It's an investment. It's insurance that you're going to fucking use. You're going to eat the food, folks. It's not like you're buying it and then wasting it. But when you buy it and you get this stored up to a year or 2 years worth of food, and it might not even be enough, it might be needing more than that, but at least a year minimum, try for 2. Once you have it, as you use it, you replace it. It's easy to replace what you're using. You're not eating 20 cans of food each day, but whatever you use each week, replace it. It's just like your normal shopping. But you've invested in yourself and your family to at least know that if shit goes upside down, at least you can feed yourselves because you might be good at trading. You might know my stuff. You might be profitable. Your funded account might be getting withdrawals, and you're able to do all these amazing things. But you know what you can't fucking do when you're hungry? Live. You can have all the fucking money in the world. If you can't buy anything because it's not in the store and people aren't shipping it, and we have a 3-day just in time system in the United States, that means they have taken inventory and control measures to see what do they usually go through in a rotation of 3 days, what do they usually keep on stock that's optimal for them, and then how can they replenish that within the next 3 days. That's the way our grocery stores operate. And most of your stores, if you're honest and you walk around your stores, they do these things called fronting, where they only put the front row of things, and behind them it's all empty space because they don't have enough supply. That's a lot of shit that's still like that today. And when shit goes upside down, everybody's going to make a mad dash. Just like when in Maryland, if they say there's a snowflake coming, all of the fucking eggs, all the fucking bread, all the fucking milk is gone immediately. You would think that they were expecting 20 fucking feet of snow in 20 minutes, paralyzing everything. Like they're never going to be able to see an egg again. They're never going to be able to buy bread again. There's never going to be a loaf of bread ever. So everybody goes out and buys it all up. What do you think's going to happen when we wake up, probably on a fucking Saturday, and our currency has been devalued? Now, the average person in your neighborhood, they'll be like, "Ooh, what does that mean?" But the people that understand what that means will be running to the store, and they're not bringing their credit cards. They're bringing bags to fill up, and they're going out the door without paying for it. And when everybody has that mentality, and they have instigated that mindset, and over in California, they're just allowing it. Oh, we're not going to come out there. It's not worth our time. They're stealing everything out of your store. Just accept it. It is what it is. It's not worth our time. So they're allowing this mentality to grow, and it's going to be in everybody's mindset. I'm going to be real honest with you, folks. Okay, I'm going to be real honest with you. I have children. And I have money. But if I don't have the ability to spend the money that I have because it's devalued, and I don't have a way to feed them, and I know that there's things in that location that used to be a store or maybe is still trying to operate as a store, I'm not beneath going in there and getting what my family needs. And I don't give a fuck how you think about that, because if push comes to shove, you're going to do the same thing. I don't want to hurt anybody, but that ain't going to be a deterrent for me letting my children starve. So how is it shocking when the less, well, how do I say this? The folks that are not in a better position financially, how is it shocking when these encounters fall on these neighborhoods and these areas where they don't have a whole lot, and things break out? What happens? They go in there and start taking things, but they use it for excuses to go in there and take things like TVs and things that aren't going to be useful. When this stuff happens, food, grocery stores are going to be emptied the fuck out. It's it. And then power's going to go off. What are you going to do then? Yeah, I got freezers full of shit. Do you have a way of keeping it running? I do. I have solar. I have gas generators. I have other means to keep things going too. You got room on your property to do a root cellar? You can keep a lot of things down there for months. As long as you keep rodents out of it, you can keep them down there and everything's fine. You have a little bit of time to do whatever you can to make your household as prepared as possible, and not living in fear, not panicking. If you're anxious and you're having an anxiety attack, listening to me, some of you probably already turned it off saying, I can't listen to this shit. Like, this is scaring me. It shouldn't be scaring you. It should be preparing you to accept the fact that these things are coming. You can't stop it. Now, as a 20-year-old, I would be unable to even have this conversation with you. I would be in a fit of panic because I know what's coming. I know what we're seeing unfold, and people that are paying attention to it They're seeing it too, but they're trying to ignore it like it ain't gonna happen. No, it can't happen in America. America, come on now. America, they're not gonna. It's not gonna be like Venezuela, right? It's gonna be worse because there's more people here with guns, and when people want something because they need things, listen. You want to be in a terrifying situation? Be staring down the barrel of a gun, and this man or this woman wants your shit because they're starved. Billy Badass ain't coming out at that moment. It's going to be, what do you want? How fast can I get it to you? And you still might be shot because it's going to be scary. One of the best books I read that's non-traded or non-trading related was written by this guy that went through the collapse that was in Venezuela. And it really puts it in perspective of how ill prepared the average person is because you think it would never happen. And everything is being telegraphed openly. They're telling you, they're literally fucking telling us what's going to happen. And a lot of you are just simply walking around with blinders on thinking, well, my cable TV still works. I can still look at YouTube. Apple Music still works. I can listen to my jams. My iPods still keep a charge. I call them iPods. What do you call them? I always say it wrong. My wife yells at me all the time. There's earbuds. I call them iPods wrong. The As long as my shit works, my technology still works, then I don't give a shit what else is happening. As long as my belly's full, I got gas in my car, I can get where I can go, and my phone's on charge, I'm okay. But what happens when you don't have access to that stuff? You got to deal with real people. Think about that. Real people that are stressed out just like you're going to be stressed out. The last thing you're going to be thinking about is fucking trading. Trust me when I tell you, you will not have a clear mind about trading. When all this stuff starts breaking loose, it's going to happen. All these currencies, they're going to do shit that you ain't expecting, that I'm not expecting, that I can't time, you can't time, or get out of a move that you're in. Now think, are you really going to be able to think clearly about what you're trying to do with your money trading when you are starving? You're 3 meals away from not having anything to feed your kids, because not because you weren't a good parent, not because you didn't have money, but because there's nothing to buy because it's not in the stores. And it's too unsafe for new trucks to deliver new shit because the trucks will start not making it through the stores. They'll be collected on the street, emptied out. That's the kind of shit that was going on down in Venezuela. And you think, as an American, just like I did for a long time, that's somewhere else. That's not here. That's never going to happen here. Think, all of these huge, influential countries that have big economies of their own are taking a step away from the dollar. They're moving away from the dollar. They don't give a shit what the outcome's going to be. They all want it to happen that way. Who is going to be there supporting our currency? Nobody. So what's it going to be worth? Nothing. All of your shit's going to cost way more, and you won't be able to get it most likely anyway. Are you prepared for something like that? I think I am prepared, but I'm not fully prepared. Nobody could be. Nobody could be this prepared to endure it and have no worries. I worry for my kids. I worry for my daughter because you know she's a young woman that is always on. She sent me an article the other day. She says, "How worried should I be? Be honest." And it was, the another country was moving away from the dollar and siding with China's way of doing things. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you shouldn't be panicking, because panicking isn't going to change it. It ain't going to remove the likelihood of it happening. And ultimately, push comes to shove, you can come home. I mean, we got room for you. So there's no reason for you to panic. But it's coming home to roost. And people that never would think about these types of things, like my daughter, like her mind doesn't think about these things. She's just always in the moment. She's a TikToker. She's whatever her friends and family like right now, that's all she cares about. And now she's finally noticing things. And maybe it hasn't happened for you. Maybe this is waking you up to it. Now you're going to start looking for it. Do not let it paralyze you with fear. Don't let it do that. Some of the things that I did to get prepared, listen, I have freezers. I have shelves full of shit. If someone can get into my home, they're going to get ventilated. Okay? Trust me, that will happen. But if I was overtaken and they took all my shit, okay, I have fucking fishing gear. I can go and catch fucking fish. I know how to catch fish. I know how to eat fish. Okay, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. Everybody thinks they're gonna go out there and fucking hunt deer. I'm gonna live off the land, squirrels. Everybody's gonna do that. There's gonna be fucking no deer. Okay, the first fucking month, everybody's gonna have deer. It's gonna be gone. Literally every day. I've thought about many times every day behind my property. I usually have about 30, 25 to 30 heads of wildlife in form of deer coming up on my property all the time. And we have deer feeders because I don't want them eating my trees and shit. But I think about it all the time. Like, I love looking at them. They're beautiful animals. I don't want to shoot them, but I would if I was hungry. But I know I won't see them when this shit happens because they're going to be cleaned out. Everybody up here in this county I live in, like, you can literally go outside, sit still long enough, and you'll hear somebody shooting something. They're hunting all the time up here. And some property owners that I have that are within an earshot from where I live, they let hunters come there, set up tree stands, and hunt right on their property. We're up here in the sticks in some ways, but it's not like a desolate area. It's just a lot of wildlife and woods and stuff. But it's good neighborhoods up here. But all that idea of I'm going to live off the land shit and be Rambo, that ain't going to float. Like, you're going to be without meat. So you have to have other ways. Fishing's one that, listen, we're not emptying the fucking oceans. Okay, we're not going to empty the streams. Okay, there's a lot of fish out there. So in my mind, that's what I've prepared for. I prepared for using all of the foods that I had that are frozen. If I lose the ability to keep them frozen, or I lose them because of something that I didn't expect, theft, something to that effect. Okay, like, I literally have 500 spools of fucking fishing line and tackle out the ass. Like, I'm fucking ready. Like, I'm ready to be a fucking fisherman. Okay, I fished all my life. I know how to do it, and I'm not worried about it. My wife doesn't like fish. I told her, I said, you'll fucking eat it. You get hungry enough, you'll fucking eat it. And there was a time when my wife, when I was trying to explain to her years ago, right before I stepped out on baby pips, in 2009, I was talking to her, and I said, listen, I want to start talking to you about what I think is going to happen. And she didn't, she's like, well, listen, that ain't going to happen. And stop talking like that because you're going to scare me. And I was like, I don't want you afraid, but I do want you to understand that we need to do things as a family to prepare for these types of things because it's going to come. And if you're not on the same page with me, it's going to make me stressed when I have to make moves and you're not on the same page with me. And you're either freaking out or arguing with why it's not something we should be worrying about when we should be. And it's interesting since 2020, because I told her everything in the fall, what was happening and how it was going to happen. And she was like, you know what? There was a long time where I didn't want to have conversations with you because I would always trap her in the car. We'd take these rides and I'd say, look, I want to talk to you about something. And she's like, she started doing her heavy breathing and sighing and like, oh shit, I'm trapped in the car and we're gonna have one of those conversations. And usually it'd be like once every 2 weeks. So I told her, I said, look, shit's about to get real. We're gonna have problems because they're gonna say there's a virus coming out of China and it's bullshit. And they're gonna lock down everything and they're gonna fuck with our freedoms and they're gonna push a vaccine that they don't say they have yet, but they're gonna be fast tracking it. And I swear to you, the look on her face when all this stuff came down, she's like, you know what? We gotta really do everything to get our kids prepared. And I want my mom and dad, and I want my sisters, and all these things. Like she's got an interest in making sure she's doing something to prepare for it. She doesn't think it's crackpot. She understands that all these things are happening, and now she's paying attention to it, and she doesn't panic about it, which is amazing. Now, if she hadn't been prepared for it or primed for it, expecting it to occur, she would absolutely be fucking making me nuts because think about it. All hell's breaking loose. You got to make a move. It's go time. Family, you got to move. There's an emergency in your area. You can't stay there. What do? Tell your spouse, tell your kids, do this. The kids aren't going to understand, but because you're a parent, do this, get your shit, let's go. Okay, they're used to that. But when you tell your spouse that is not on the same page, they're going to argue it. Why are we doing this? Well, I'm not doing this. Why? You need to explain. I ain't got time to explain things to you. We got to go. And that would be a sense of overwhelming stress for me. And I don't have to worry about that now. And that's what you need to be worrying about. If these things are going to occur and you are in a relationship with someone, you need to be on the same page. Doesn't mean you have to be freaking out and panic, but you need to be aware of what your plan together is for you and your family. That way you have no surprises. You know, this is what we're going to do. If we have to leave or if we get separated, where do we meet? It needs to be a location that you understand it. If we get separated, this is where we go. This is where we meet up. This is what we're storing. If you use it, keep record of it so we can replace it when it's time to go and get more supplies at the grocery store. Everybody has to be on the same page. And it took a lot of effort on my part to get my family used to that because they didn't want to hear it in the beginning. Now, because all the shit that's been going on, I'm years ahead of all that stuff and they're seeing it happen. So they're no longer looking at it like it's crackpot theory or conspiracy nutcase tinfoil hat shit that needs to be rejected and ignored. Now they feel comfortable understanding why I've been doing what I've been doing for years, accumulating certain shit, buying things that allow us to have more food on hand, not just in our house, but our other homes. So it's not like, oh, we have one place. We don't have just one place. We have other places. We don't need to have a deed. Okay. When you have a location where you can go and run out there and this is where you're going to be at, that's where you're going to be at. Nobody needs to know about it. You might not have that resource. For you, it might be keeping an extra supply of water and food in your car. So that way, if you're not at home and you get delayed getting back to your family, do you have a way to sustain yourself if you get caught between two places? Do you ever think about something like that? It happened to us. And I was thankful that I had something in the car that kept me from having a situation where I didn't have my wallet on me. So I just couldn't go, oh, let me just swipe something. I didn't have anything to swipe. So without a wallet, without ID, without any kind of credit card, I don't use a debit card. That's the worst invention ever. I had to rely on what I had. And that was fine. I slept in the car and there it is. I got home a day later. But those types of things, the average person doesn't think about that. They just don't think about it. They just think, convenience of everything that's at your hands and at your disposal because of technology. What happens when your car doesn't operate? Because there's no more gas to put in the engine. When shit goes upside down and our currency's devalued, you think the gasoline tanks are going to stay full? No. The people that are smart are going to run there immediately and load up because they know shit is going to hit the fan. And they want to make sure if they have generators at home, they have fuel to run them. The generators that I use, This little fucker is amazing. Like it ran 10 hours, 10 hours on 1 gallon, and it was so quiet. It was like, this is amazing. Like it was really well worth the money I spent on it. And I'll send you the description. It's not a link. I don't get anything for it. Okay. It's just, I'll just give you the model I have. Okay. But I've used this thing. It's never failed me. It starts right up. It's easy as shit to change the spark plug on it and oil that has to be changed after you run it for 50 hours. Then you just drain the oil, which is little, and then you put more in it, and it's good to go again. I mean, this little bastard is awesome. It ran four, let's see, two stand-up freezers, two chest freezers, and a refrigerator and a small circulating fan. It ran all that shit. One little ass portable handheld. It's heavy now. Don't get me wrong. It's not light, but this little bastard ran like a monster. Didn't skip a beat. Quiet as shit. Because we had a tornado come through. It touched down right before it got to our neighborhood. It was in the woods area. Touched down once. Tore down the power lines that affected our neighborhood. My house and 6 other homes did not have power. But for, I think it was 18 hours, 19 hours, this little son of a bitch ran everything. None of my food was spoiled. Never even thought out anything. And all I had to do was unplug the fan. If we were going to microwave something to heat it up, all I had to do was unplug the fan and plug the microwave in, and I could heat up food. And there it was. So I didn't miss a beat. Like it was nice. But I have 4 of them, and I only needed to use one. And it was the best investment I ever have made for power issues. Like it's like we had a Generac installed, like $7,000 Generac, and when it came time to need it, it didn't work. Come to find out that there was a lot of people that bought them, and they don't ensure that it's going to work. In fact, when you buy it, it's like, we're not saying it's going to work when you need it, which at the time you don't think about it, but it was a waste of fucking money, right? So when you have these big generators and they don't work for you, well, shit, what's your alternative? These little portable things. And I literally got it off of Amazon. And once I tried it, I was like, you know what? I want to have a backup of this, and I want to have a backup of that, and I want to have a backup of that, because one is none and two is one. So if it's going to be something like this, that's going to be vital for me to keep things running and keeping them cold, because I have meats and things that are being stored, I want to make sure I have a length of time to make decisions. What am I going to do when I run out of fuel? What am I going to do? And if you're in a situation where you have just a little bit of time and nothing but the thawing out of your food is occurring because you have nothing keeping it running to keep it cold, you're panicking and you're not going to make good decisions. So I'm affording myself time, and also ensuring that I'm not going to have my investment of food spoil, because you can't eat all that kind of food. You can't just say, well, I'm just going to eat it. No, you can't. It's too much. So, and maybe you've never considered about these issues or these problems, and maybe you're in a circumstance that doesn't ever provide this ever crop. I don't know how that would be, because we all are carbon-based organisms that have to eat, and we have to eat, and you have to have some kind of food and sustenance, and all of this is going to touch all of our lives. And some of you aren't going to be prepared. Even listening to this, you're not going to do anything about it. And when it hits, you're going to think about this, just like the individuals that were listening to me in 2020 in my mentorship that paid me and said, fuck you, you're crazy, I'm out of here, I'm done. Which made no sense to me. And then it happened. And then they reached out to me and emailed them. I'm sorry, but you got to understand. No, I understand. I understand. Believe me, I understand. I believe that there are going to be people hearing what I'm talking about and thinking that there's no way this is going to happen. And I want you all to be able to laugh at me and say, Chicken Little, man, it didn't happen. That's what they called me on Twitter, 2016. Chicken Little. Yeah. The whole fucking world came to a grinding halt. They were telling you to wear a fucking diaper on your fucking face. that you couldn't see your loved ones, couldn't see your fucking loved ones buried. You couldn't visit them in the hospital. That's what they did to you. But I was the asshole. I told you that shit was coming, and you laughed. Now I'm telling you, this shit's real. It's real, it's coming, and you need to do whatever you can to get prepared. And I don't have an answer. I've only been able to do what I've told you here, and I can be honest and tell you it's not enough. When this shit happens, I'm not a multimillionaire anymore. Overnight, instantaneously, currency's devalued. Everybody that has money has no money. We're all on the same playing field. And then here you go. We're going to start using central bank digital currency. There's your solution. Thank us. And it's going to be the greatest wealth transfer that's ever been done. You're watching it right now. It's unfolding right now, live in front of everyone. And you're not seeing it because you're distracted with all the other bullshit. All the dumb stuff that you're paying attention to that's keeping your focus away from what really matters. Food. Non-perishable food. That's what you get. You get it and you store it. Keep track of it. You rotate the stock. You'd be surprised by selling stupid shit around the house that you don't want right now. People will buy dumb shit right now. Think about it. They'll buy dumb shit because they're oblivious to what's coming. So there's stuff that you have that you can sell at a swap meet, a yard sale, online. You can raise money to get this stuff, but you got to sacrifice stuff. If you're a pack rat, you got to keep every fucking thing. I guess it's going to be a little bit harder for you to decide what you're going to get rid of, but you have stuff. Turn it into money and buy things for your household. Store it up. Light bulbs, band-aids, peroxide, neosporin, bandages, things that you aren't really thinking about. Batteries. Now, I bought shit tons of fucking batteries. Every kind of battery, even shit that I don't have a need for per se, but I have them because I know if shit comes down, I can trade that for something else. Money might be gone, but you can always barter. Why do you have all these fucking cars, ICT? What's the point of all that? They're not supercars. Right. Because if I have to fucking raise some kind of fucking exchange for something I really fucking need, somebody's going to want that fucking pickup truck. Somebody's going to really want that 4x4 fucking Jeep that I own. There's nothing being leased. I own them bitches. Out of all my fucking cars, the one I'm in right now, my Highlander, I would get rid of all of them, all my Corvettes too. This car is a fucking cherry. It runs beautiful. It's comfortable. It's got space. I can move shit around in it. It doesn't use a lot of fuel either. This is my Batmobile. This is my uh, getaway vehicle. My other stuff, I bought them. I like them, yes, but I bought them because if I need to make an exchange for something that I need, or I need to raise capital, if I need money for something right away, real quick, I can do that with them. If they take your fucking money and devalue it overnight, I can't spend that. But I have things that I can exchange for whatever new currency comes. Oh yeah. See, I'm 20 fucking steps ahead. That's what I'm doing all the time. I've always done that. Yes, I'm using these vehicles. Yes, I barely drive them, but I have them for a purpose. The common person out there would like these cars. They're useful. They're 4x4. They get around. They can go in other places instead of just the street. And while I don't want to take this Highlander over that kind of stuff, it can. And it's a gray man vehicle. It doesn't stand out like that. but those 4x4s, they stand out. So everything I do is with a purpose. It's intended to be dual use. Yes, I enjoy them, but also I'm not so emotionally connected to them that I couldn't separate from them when I need to get something that I may not be able to get from a bank. So I'm looking at things a little bit differently than just simply going out there and getting a bunch of cars just to say I have cars. If you own a firearm, it'd probably be a good idea for you to start getting some more ammunition because that's going to get real hard to get soon. And the people that sell it won't want to sell it when shit starts getting bad because they're going to want to have it for themselves. Supply and demand. That's when it really matters, and that's when it really exists. So anyway, I'm sure I've raised your spirits tonight and made you feel good and warm fuzzies. Just trying to be a little bit lighthearted. I know because this conversation probably isn't all that pleasurable. Does it make you feel good? I know, but if I had a friend that knew something and they didn't tell me, I would be very disappointed in that friend. And I'm trying to be a good friend to all of you. I'm trying to let you know what you're probably not aware of or paying attention to, and remind you that you have a little bit of time still to do things to get prepared. And you're never going to be fully prepared. I'm not. I have lots of money in things that I might not ever use. I don't care. It gives me peace of mind knowing that I have it if I need it. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And you're always going to be thinking after the fact, oh, I wish I would have got this. Your list of things may not be something that's useful to me. And the things I'm making a list of having a supply of may not be useful to you. I have 65 cases of Insure that I rotate through. I drink them, my kids drink them, and as we use them, I replace it. They are supplemental, so that way if I do have to eat less because of we're rationing what we have, I can eat a very small allowance of a vegetable out of a canned meat, and then an Insure that does not need to be refrigerated. So it supplements nutritionally what I'm doing less of in terms of what I'm used to having as a well balanced meal. Water. I don't I don't like bottled water per se, but what I do is I either distill it or the well water that I have, I run that through our filter and then distill it. We usually keep about 50 cases of bottled water on hand. And I was not prepared for all that stuff that just happened. So we had to go out and replenish a lot more. I thought I had a larger quantity, but my kids were taking them and wasn't telling me. So I had to go through all my stuff and make sure I was up on my supply there. It's a lot of work to manage it. And if everybody's not on the same page, that little fox will spoil the vine. And you don't want to be in a situation where you need something. You thought you had it, and then it's go time and you don't have it. Medicines, over the counter stuff, pain relievers, Advil, Tylenol, Aleve, women's toiletries. My wife doesn't have to have those things. She doesn't have her monthly friend, as they call it. We have supplies for that because we know that we're going to see people in our family and friends that may need them. That's the extent I've gone to. Things that you don't think about. I've literally sat around and thought about. If I needed this, or if I have a friend that I know uses it, chances are they're not going to have it. But if I have it and he has something I need, I can trade for him to have that and I can get what he needs. Barter system, that's what's going to happen when a currency devalues. Two things happen: barter and theft. Your closest friends will barter with you. Your associates will barter with you. People that don't know you are going to try to take your shit. And you got to learn how to see that for what it is. And you might need to plant a freedom seed garden in their ass. I hope I never have to do stuff like that. To me, that's a terrifying thing. I don't want to have to do something like that. I'm the person that likes to think that if I rack my shotgun, that sound is a deterrent. But if you're starved, you ain't ate, and you have children that ain't eating, that's not going to be a deterrent. So while we may not be spiraling down into a Mad Max type thing, I do believe we're getting ready to have some really uncomfortable time. Very, very uncomfortable. And people that have money are not going to be exempt. Traders with lots of money are not going to be exempt. So the average person, they're more vulnerable. And they're more likely to do the things that are going to bring danger to everyone else because they need. And people that need and can't get, they'll make decisions that are not always safe. All these train derailments. Now, if you do the research on, there's always a lot of train derailments every year. It's just like car accidents. I mean, you may not have gone through a car accident recently, but they're happening a lot. And chances are, every week from the beginning of your work week to the end of the week, you've probably seen at least one accident before the end of the week comes. We're always out there around it. But these derailments, I want you to keep track of where they're occurring. You're gonna start seeing these things become more prevalent, and it's because I think we're underneath this. It's unconventional warfare. That's what I see it. I was reading an article, and I don't know if there's any truth to it, but I've always suspected that it is, that the railroad companies are suppressing the information that they know that these derailments are sabotage to the rails. That goes without saying. I mean, good grief. These trains that are derailing with these cargo on them that are highly toxic. You know, think about what's occurring down in Texas right now. Everybody's just coming right on in. There really isn't a way to be able to prevent all that stuff. So if you believe the narrative about SEAL Team 6 and the exploits that they were able to do, six guys can do a whole lot of damage if they know what they're doing. If you believe the narrative that 9/11 happened the way it did, look what they were able to accomplish. There wasn't a lot of them. So now imagine some highly motivated individuals coming in to our country with the intent to upset the way we do things around here, cause chaos. How can you do that? Well, train derailments is one of them. Contaminating water supplies. You know, that's always been a fearful thing for me. Like, because I thought about like when we were told we had all these villains trying to do things to us, and the only thing they thought about doing was crash airplanes into two buildings. That was it. Like, there's more impactful things that could have been done if there really was this boogeyman that was trying to get us in September 11th. They could have done something more impactful than that. It just so happens that those two buildings falling down allowed the person that took out billions of dollars of insurance on it was able to get paid, and all the other things that disappeared in record on that day in a building that was not even hit by an airplane that went down, but was told it went down before it went down on live TV. The BBC was broadcasting, "Oh, yeah, the building went down," and the lady is literally standing in front of the building that they said it's collapsed. But nobody talks about it. It's just, okay, well, what can you do? And that's where we're at as a society now. Like, they can do anything, and we don't challenge it. We may bitch, complain about, oh, it's this and it's that, but they know they got us in that position where we won't do anything. Not Americans, we won't, because we should have already been raising hell about the things that they've been doing since 2020. Look what they're doing over in France. Look how they raise hell in big numbers of people coming together in South America. I mean, their streets are full of people. I ain't never seen anything like that. That's amazing. What do you think would happen if our country in America, we stood up and moved into solidarity and said, you know what? I don't hate you as my brother and neighbor. We need to come together, care about each other, and start making change, because that's the change that needs to happen. Stop making divisions between one another. Stop hating the person because they have more than you or they get more attention than you. Stop hating the other person because they're a different color than you. They live in a different neighborhood than you. They have less than you. That's the problem. That's the real problem here. They have allowed everyone to hate people just because they posted something on the internet about what they do with their life that's not really harming anybody else, but they get trolled, they get spoken about and harassed. And at some point, somebody eventually goes to them and does some harm. I was listening to an article about a podcaster, and some nut job came in and killed her and her husband, broke into the house, killed them both, and killed himself. That's nonsense. That's craziness. All because of something, I'm sure, that had to do with something that was online. That's the state of the world right now. People have grown accustomed to saying things on the internet that they would never say in the face of someone that they're talking about. Veiled threats, trying to inspire other people to do harm to them, cancel them. That's dangerous. And the shit that they're trying to pass, guess what happens when people do that? They go to jail for 20 years. So, well, I don't think the average trolls are going to be going to jail. They're going to be using it to get rid of the people that are speaking up against what the government's going to do and has done. That's what it's really designed for. Because you may not want to join the coalition of people trying to stand up against the government if you see how they deal with them on an individual basis, which is what the September, or not September, the January 6th insurrection, which is not a fucking insurrection. I literally watched that shit live. And I watched the police officers let them in, walk them in, wave them in. Now, was there some unruly shit going on there too? Yeah. Should it have happened like that? No. But the way they're painting it, you would have thought it was some craziness. It was pandemonium, don't get me wrong. It was. But they have created that situation where now it's justification for new things, new control measures, new enforcements. And people need to be civilized, yes. But elections need to matter. Votes need to count. And representatives need to really represent the people. And we're not seeing any of that shit. Not seeing any of that at all. Corruption is everywhere, and it's not limited to one party. It's everywhere. And even the liberal left, some of them are waking up. They're seeing, wait a minute, this TikTok thing, this isn't really all about TikTok. There's some other shit in here we got to be worried about. Yes, the Great Awakening. How about that? Now you start seeing things, the people on the outside that's not wrapped up in bullshit Trump stuff. You're caught up in that Hegelian dialect where you think you have choices, and they want that choice to be something that divides us. Republican, Democrat. They're both the same people. They're all part of the same theater. They're all on the payroll. And they're there to give you the illusion of choice, but they're all on the same fucking payroll. And now people are waking up to it, and they're seeing it. These same career politicians that are in there for fucking 30 years doing nothing but getting rich. How does a politician that makes $200,000 or so a year amass $100 million and be better than ICT in trading? Yeah, how about that? How fucking about that? Pelosi needs to do her own mentorship, for fuck's sake. Start a YouTube channel. Can you imagine Pelosi's Telegram signals? That would be something, wouldn't it? I find it interesting how she's immediately, trying to escape politics. Okay, I'm going to retire now, and her husband gets hammered, literally. I don't believe that actually happened, by the way. I think that was all like a skit. I don't think that any of that stuff that took place, like on that body camera stuff, I don't think that guy really hit him in the head. I think it was all bullshit. Because nobody's talking about him now. Think about all the things they're telling you was supposed to happen. Trump's getting arrested. Biden got 80 million votes. Harris is the vice president. She couldn't even get 2% of the vote when she was running. And she's done nothing as the vice president. These are the people we're supposed to have faith in. And you're going to see more shootings, crazed people doing dumb things, and they're going to champion the whole idea that guns need to be taken away, and the people that have guns that want to do bad things that aren't registered firearm owners, you're not doing anything by doing that to take that gun out of their hands. There's so many guns out there rotating around that if somebody that's evil wants to procure one, they can. They don't need to register one, and they're going to do some crazy, unfortunate things. And you're not going to stop that with legislation that would be preventing someone like you and I to be able to protect ourselves in our own home. I have firearms, and I don't take them out of my house. I have firearms I've never even fired or even loaded, but I own them because it's my right to do so. But you're constantly being bombarded with a narrative or an opinion that they want you to subscribe to and adopt. When we were growing up, when I was a younger man, comedians could talk about anything and we could all laugh at it. Nobody has a sense of humor anymore. Everybody's offended. Everybody wants to get back at somebody else because they've been offended. You don't understand my identity. I don't need to understand your identity. You are your own person. How you live your life is your business. But you're not going to tell my kids the way you do your life and the way you live your life is normal. I don't have to subscribe to that, and I won't let my children be a part of that, which is why I homeschool my kids. They have attacked the family element. They have tried to redefine what a family is. They've attacked any sense of relationship that's balanced. And when I grew up, there was gay people, and there was people that dressed like the opposite sex, and we weren't worried about them. We didn't care that they lived their life like that. There was no movement to try to force everybody to be heterosexual. There was no movement to try to make everybody homosexual, transgendered, or bisexual. But we were aware that that went on. I had friends that were gay. I had friends that were bisexual. I dated a girl when I was younger that was bisexual. And it was interesting, let's just say it that way. But today, they've taken even those things and turned them into weapons. To do what? Sow division. What you do and who you do it with, as long as it's consensual, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Nobody should cram any of their views, just like religion. You know I'm a Christian. I'm not a poster boy for it. I got a foul mouth sometimes. But I'm not cramming it down your throat. But if someone asks me, I'm going to tell you what I believe. And I don't care if you agree with it. It's what I believe. And you're not going to change it. You're not going to change my opinion about it. You're not going to make me convert to something else. And I don't ridicule anybody else's faith or belief in anything else either. I try to be as balanced as I possibly can, but still hold on to the truths that I believe are useful to be part of this human society, not just one part of it. And if people try to live their life like that more often, we wouldn't have all these problems that we got. We wouldn't have all these divisions. We wouldn't have all these reasons to want to hurt the other person, whether physically or emotionally. The things that I do for you and the things I invest in you in terms of time and energy and teaching you, I hope you see it's more than just trading. I want to see you be a better person. And I'm trying to constantly move to be a better person by doing this. I'm investing into strangers that I'm never going to meet with the hopes that they will help other strangers just because they can. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And I think I have made that impression on some of you. Not all of you, but some of you is enough. That's enough to keep me going. That motivates me. It leads to wanting me to be able to be successful at more of you, subscribing to that, reaching that. Because happiness isn't going to come by the money. Money, you can make a lot of money, and it doesn't make you happy. You can't buy happiness with money. It's just a tool that helps you not worry about the things that everybody else is going to worry about. But what we're going into, this is a newsflash, folks. For the folks that just simply think they're stacked up and they can endure this, I'm telling you, as a real multimillionaire, I don't have an answer for it. If I did, I'd be telling you. I promise you I would be telling you. So the only thing I can tell you to do is prepare. That's all. Prepare. Don't panic. Don't put so much fear behind everything you're doing. Don't be motivated by fear. You should be motivated to prepare so that way you're not reacting to fear, because that's what everybody else is going to be doing. Everybody else is going to be losing their shit because they can't get what they need. And they're going to be fearful that they were not prepared, and it's going to be blindsiding them. You're not going to be blindsided now. You may not be prepared, but you're not going to be blindsided by it now. You know what's coming. And you can't be plugging your ears and turning your face away like it isn't going to happen. So therefore, you say it ain't going to happen, or it's nonsense. It ain't going to happen because you said so. That's not what this is going to be like. What do you think the Great Reset is? Think about it. What do you think that they're doing? They're planning for a whole lot less of us. The Great Reset to a lower population. Useless eaters. That's how they view us. Think about that. That's not even human. So they don't think you're human. So why should they give a shit about your health, your well-being, or your family? They don't. Not more than what they can do to reduce your population. Think about it. In the United States, the country that we're told in the United States that we are the pinnacle. We are at the height of everything. Technology, school, college, everything. We're the richest nation in the world when we're really not. Our school grades for our children suck. We produce nothing. But we're told, we're lied to constantly that we are the cream of the crop, the shit that everybody wants to be like. When it's not true. And when you realize how much you've been lied to by our own government, by the indoctrination centers that we call schools, it's sickening. And it's not surprising to see how some people in our country here in America act out the way they do. Everything is against us. Everything is rigged. Everything is meant to be harder. It's not meant for you to be easily getting rich. It's not easy for you to get a fast track to wealth. It's not designed for that. That group of individuals that are at the top, they like their group to be small. The list of people that need to be remembered, it's more convenient that way. They don't want the riffraff in there like us. These people are fucking sick. They're disgusting fucking cretins. And what they have planned for us is horrible. Our country in the United States, we literally put carcinogenic things in the food. Increase the sugar intake, which feeds cancer. Charge you an arm and a leg for chemotherapy that most of the time doesn't even work because you're going to pay it because you think it's going to save your ass. You'll give up everything if it just means you're going to beat cancer. Every one of us in the United States is a petri dish, and they're trying to grow cancer in all of us. That's what's going on. You're given drugs that cause it. They put shit in your food that causes it. They put the food in your food that feeds cancer, sugar, in everything. Look at the ingredients of shit. It's sugar. You need to question everything. Everything needs to be questioned. Because if you don't asking the right questions, you're the mark. You're going to be a victim. You're going to walk into a situation when you don't know what's coming. Like most people don't see this coming. They don't see the problem and the trouble that we're in as a country right now. I'm literally driving around. I'm probably breaking up in some areas where I'm driving. I apologize, but to see these folks just driving around, I'm looking at them. They have no idea I'm talking to you about this. They probably aren't even thinking about it. Never even crossed their mind. And here you are on a Thursday evening listening to some guy in Maryland go on about something that probably most of you don't even agree or believe it's going to happen. But you're all going to be believing soon. There ain't going to be any doubters soon. There's going to be a whole lot of people that wish they would have did something and did whatever they could to get prepared. Because when it hits, it's going to be fast, it's going to be sudden, it's going to be shock and awe, and that's what it's designed to be. When this shit happened in 2020, COVID this and COVID that, everybody that was awake knew what they were going to be coming with. And I even said it. I said, if we go past the 2 weeks of shutting everything down, everybody social distancing, I was all for it. I even said, I'm all for 4 weeks just to remove any doubt. Just shut it all down. Nobody travels, goes anywhere. No intermingling for 4 weeks. I'm all for that. No problem. I can buy into that. That's no problem at all. No resistance at all for me with that. But I said if we go past that, we're in some real shit, real fruity shit. And we went past it. And then you couldn't do this, and you couldn't do that. And some of the rules were just fucking stupid, like dumb. You can walk in a restaurant, but you have to be sitting down. You can't walk through the restaurant with the mask off, but you can sit there and talk over your food. If you don't do that, if you don't wear your mask, COVID's going to get you. It created a boogeyman. And some of you, probably listening to this, are offended when I say that. But you don't know this, Michael, because I had someone that died from it. I had somebody that died to it, too. The flu killed people. It always has killed people before. This vaccine that they created, I know people personally. I dated one of them. I had a relationship with one of them. Okay? And she was fit as a fiddle. Dead. Her brain swelled up. Her heart swelled up. Dead. I have a list of people I know. As soon as they took it, ailments, health issues, death. I know some of you are listening to this and you're thinking, well, yeah, you're one of those anti-vaxxers. I am fucking anti-vax. You're damn right. Because my youngest son is injured by one of it. Not the COVID shit. I would never let him get any of that stuff. But when he was born, they shot him up with something and it fucked him up. So no, I won't be taking any of that fucking shit they ever produce in the future. It says this is going to save us from the flower fungus, the next bullshit that Bill Gates is promising is coming before we get to 2025. There's going to be one worse. By the time we get to 2025, you can rest assured it's going to happen. How the fuck can you predict that? unless it's you doing it. This is the same joker that never graduated college, built an operating system, and then built a virus scanner and cleans the viruses that his fucking company was producing. Come on, like seriously, come on. He's in everything. This guy's in every fucking thing. Why is that? Why is it that that's not questioned more? He wants to block the sun's rays. He wants to buy up all the farmland. He releases bioengineered mosquitoes into Florida, now twice. Hundreds of thousands of these things. Who knows what the fuck that is? You know what's interesting about a mosquito? It's a flying syringe. It's a beautiful way to spread disease. Now, if it's genetically modified, how is it genetically modified? For what purpose was it genetically modified? You're not going to know that. But I don't believe it's good. I don't take advice medically from someone that never became a doctor. I don't take advice from you can't do that anytime. You should be considering being panicked and fear. No. You should do whatever you can to make your house ready. That's all you can do. That's all any of us can do.